Hey guys, this is Ken's 97 Stow 171. It's been quite a while since I did a trucking video, so forgive me if I'm a little rusty. Not using my regular GoPro camera, so I'm hoping this turns out okay. The microphone in the GoPro has been acting very funny, and so I'm going to give this one a try. This is just a regular 10 megapixel digital camera. Doesn't have the wide angle lens, so you're not going to see as much, you know, as far as spread out as you guys normally do. I'm hoping it doesn't screw up the experience too much. It is still attached, just so you know. This thing is about 5 times heavier than that GoPro, but I was able to get it zip tied to a junk ball cap. Anyway, I've since changed jobs and working for a different company, and I'm now driving a international, it's 2009 International ProStar. It's got the Cummins engine in it, regular straight 10. So this is going to be kind of a combination of truck review and, you know, just sort of a little bit of a driving video since it's been a while. Overall, I like the truck. It's kind of a blend. You know, if you guys have seen my other International Eagle review, there were quite a few things I didn't really like about the truck, and this model pretty much takes care of all of those issues, but yet maintains a lot of the things, you know, that I did like about it. It rides pretty good. It doesn't ride as good as that old Volvo I had, because that Volvo had air ride in the front axle, and I can't expect this to ride as good, but it rides reasonably well. The ergonomics are nice. Actually, there's some things I like better. The shifter in this rig, the way they've got it, you may not be able to see this, but it kind of comes up and then it bends forward. It's nice. It doesn't really hurt your shoulder as much. Some transmissions I've driven, when you're going from like 9th to 10th, your arm ends up way that, you know, when you're going from 9th to 10th, you're way the hell back here, kind of at it, stretching your shoulder around. And this one's nice. It's kind of more forward, at least for me. Got the square mirrors up front there on the hood. I actually kind of like those. They seem to give you a little bit more, a little more view. And being able to see more is always a good thing. I always put on my hazards here because pretty heavy, and it's going to take me quite a while to get up to 55 coming off this ramp. Got a bit of an uphill here, and pretty heavy load is about 50,000 pounds of bulk in the trailer. Truck and trailer empty weigh about 28,000 pounds, so you do the math. We're usually pretty close to gross, 78,000, 77, 78,000. I mean, it's not real close to gross, but they can't really go much heavier because the bulk powder moves around in the trailer, and oftentimes you'll go over the scale and find yourself a little over 34,000 pounds on one axle or the other. But they don't usually haul us in. They're the people in the scales, you know, DOT officers are smart enough to realize that the bulk cargo moves around a little bit, and you know, you can tap the brakes and it'll shift forward, you know, hit a bump and it'll move back. So back to the International here a little bit. It's got a nice gauge cluster. Get your water temp, oil, RPM, speed, volts, fuel, primary, secondary air. And they solved a lot of the things I didn't like. All the buttons and switches, I mean, the ones that you don't use all the time are here, like your differential lock and your suspension dump, engine brake settings, you know, 1, 2, or 3, mirror heat, and you can see I can reach them. I mean, they're like within arm's reach. Whereas the Eagle, you had to kind of lean forward. They added steering wheel controls. You probably can't see this because without the wide-angle lens, but on the steering wheel you got a button for headlight interrupt. That's very handy. You got your cruise control, on, off, set, coast. Over here you got your marker interrupt, so you can flash your trailer lights. You got the air horn button, which I hate being there. The engine brake on and off, and then you got your radio controls, channel up and down in volume right there. It's kind of nice. The air horn, don't like it there. I didn't like it in the Volvo. The Volvo, this is the city horn and this is the air horn in this truck. The Volvo had little buttons for the city horn, and then the main air horn was the center of the steering wheel. Didn't like that either, because a lot of times you're maneuvering in a parking lot, you're backing up, you know, you're in the middle of steering or doing something, trying to find the damn button on the steering wheel while you're turning or shifting or something is almost impossible. And I always found, even with the Volvo, that I almost inevitably didn't get to the damn horn before the event was over. You know, what they need to do is go back to the old-fashioned, pull the damn string right here, because usually you can get to that regardless of what you're doing with your other hands. That's just my opinion, but I do not like these electronic air horns. As far as reliability with this truck, I've had quite a few little issues. Nothing put me on the side of the road, but we've had repeated problems with the check engine light coming on, and our service guy has basically just said, well, it's a programming error, just ignore it. And most of the time when it comes on, it doesn't seem to have any effect on the truck. However, recently, there's something wrong with my truck, because check engine light comes on and the thing has absolutely no balls. You can hear the turbo kind of going up and down and up and down, and occasionally there's smoke too. So there's some kind of a problem, and I got to get it in the shop. But I'm kind of starting to think that it may be related to a quality of fuel problem, because the problem, if there was really something wrong, it would do it more often, and it seems like, you know, I'll fuel up, and then for that whole fuel tank of fuel, it misbehaves, and then it goes away for quite a long time. So I'm kind of suspecting that it's a fuel quality problem, maybe plugging up the DPF. I don't know. But so you got your power door locks and shit here, power windows up and down. They're both automatic up and up, automatic down if you hold it, if you hit it quick. One thing I do not like, it's not a big deal, but for some reason they put the power mirror controls right there instead of right here, and I have on occasion found myself with my arm up here, and I look over and my mirror is like way the hell out in left field. So that's just it's pretty minor. I think it's only happened once to me. Stereo is good. It's pretty loud. It's even an MP3 player. Seat's pretty comfortable. The ergonomics between the seat, the pedals, and the steering wheel aren't quite right for me, but, you know, I'm kind of short, so that's probably what the problem is. I find myself, to be comfortable on the steering wheel, I got to be a little closer to it than I really maybe ought to be. I think if the steering wheel was more angled this way, it'd be better. The other thing I've noticed is when you're sitting square in the chair, the steering wheel is slightly to the left. If you look at my hands, you probably can't see this, but it is slightly, maybe like half an inch that way. I don't really know if that matters much, but it's kind of funny. One thing is weird is that the oscillator in this, it goes forward a lot, but when you're just sitting here, it only goes back like quarter of an inch, and then it hits the bump stop. I often find when I hit a bump that, you know, I'll go forward, and then you come back and you slam into it. Every truck I've ever driven, when you were sitting, it would, you know, it would oscillate forward and backwards about the same amount. And this truck has almost no backwards movement. The only thing I can think of is that they did that so that when you go to press on the clutch or the brake or whatever, the seat doesn't move away from you. Maybe that's why, I don't know. But we're at time. Gotta go. See ya.